Truman Show? 10 Anxious Thoughts I Have Every Day. Do you have a stream of constant, nagging, negative thoughts which keep your mind whirring at a million miles a minute? I have generalized anxiety disorder and I am always battling with my inner monologue. She's pretty annoying at times, but I've come to recognize the anxious thoughts when they crop up, and so I feel a little more capable of ignoring them. So, from existential angst to avoiding conversations, here are 10 anxious thoughts I have almost every day. Anyone born in the 80s will know that Bernard had the greatest gift of all, a watch that could stop time. Every day I look at my small list of chores and feel so dramatically overwhelmed that I ultimately bury my head in the sand and do nothing. If only I had that blasted watch. I worry about where my lovely grandparents have gone and what happens to any of us when we die. Do we all just float around in space somewhere? I hope so. Anxiety makes me fixate on the minute details of life, and when I try to get some perspective I inevitably end up reminding myself that life is meaningless. This doesn't help matters because it's distressing to acknowledge that time is precious, and that I'm wasting it being worried all the time. I have to try to counteract this by concentrating on my breathing, which is surprisingly difficult and can often lead to an anxiety attack. Walking down the street I always assume I'm somehow in everyone's way. When purchasing my morning coffee I always have the correct money in my hand before I've even walked into the shop, and I repeat my order in my head to make sure I don't take too long when ordering. Whether it's sitting on a train, walking past my neighbors or on the treadmill at the gym, I don't want anyone to think I'm in the mood for conversation. At least once a day I am overcome by a sense of impending doom and feel like the walls are closing in on me. Somehow, I manage to get to bedtime without spontaneously combusting and I have no idea how. When someone else is talking I use the time to nod my head sympathetically, listen intently and think of an appropriate response to fill the next silence. I suppose this is what most people call conversation, but it feels like hard work to me. Whenever I'm alone in the house and I hear things moving around I fear there is a production team hiding in the wings. They're watching me thinking, God, she's really boring, and probably writing my dramatic death scene to up the ratings. I've watched enough true crime documentaries to know that it's the small details that will help put criminals behind bars. When I get suspicious of someone I estimate their height, weight, take note of what they're wearing and any distinguishing features. I also check my watch, regular, not Bernard's, just in case I need to help crack a case by confirming a timeline. More, why I refuse to tell new employers about my mental illness. More, 5 things I can't stop doing even though they make my anxiety worse. More, 5 times I was incredibly rude to people as a result of my social anxiety.